Hey, Print Hustlers, Bruce from Printavo here. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about websites, screen printing websites specifically, and just giving feedback. I'm going to go through about 8 different sites here because I want to be able to go through and show you good things, bad things, things that we can help improve, just so we can make all of our websites a lot better, right? Because websites convert, they convert leads, they get people excited about it. You just don't know the sales that you may be missing until, maybe you talk to them or you just get really good user experience best practices. Now, before Printavo, I was actually doing a ton of UI UX design for small businesses, for big businesses, for mobile apps, web apps, all of that. And so I really, really enjoy design. I really enjoy the web and just the full customer experience on the web and trying to always make that better. So without further ado, I've got 4 sites here together that I pulled from different areas that I think have really, really good aspects to their site and different things that you can be able to pull off as well. So let's just go ahead and dive in here. Now, this first site is Industry Print Shop. You can find them at industryprintshop.com. They're a really cool shop down in Austin, Texas. When you go to the site, they have a really neat video in the background. Pretty common now. You can see this as well. I think this is a great idea. I think that videos, especially, create a huge amount of connection between the potential buyer and the shop there. I mean, it's kind of like a restaurant, right? When you go and you're looking through reviews and things about a restaurant before you go to book it, well, you could just judge them based on that very quickly and not go. And so you could lose a lot of potential sales there. But I think this is a great idea that they have a video in the background here. Now you can see Fresh Prints Daily. This is interesting. I think the header, though, should always be what value you deliver very quickly. I'm not sure people will fully understand what this means right when you get there, but maybe that's what they're going for, a little bit edgier or something a little bit different. Now, what's really great though is this button here. This is called a call to action. Get a quote. Now, this is immediately one of the first things you see after Fresh Prints Daily in the video. And so when you click it, it goes to their quotes page. Now, some things that I would probably just improve if I go back here is I would probably make this even a little bit more like stick out, kind of like this. When I hover over it, you can see it's gold. Maybe make that the default. Again, really drive people in to click that right away. When I click on get quote, you tend to want to see consistency between buttons and where they're going. So I would have continued that up here on top with get a quote. And then also on the menu up top here as well. Now with this menu, I would have probably have emphasized it, like keep the default this gold color here. And the reason is again, we want to drive people to get a quote. I mean, that's the biggest aspect here is to reach out, get a quote. Now, the other thing here with this menu item is we would really want to see a phone number here. Now, maybe industry doesn't have somebody monitoring the phones, which totally understand. And we used to not to be able to do that either. But phone numbers on website headers bring a huge amount of legitimacy to your business very quickly. People just see it and they think, okay, this is legit, even if they don't call it. But again, if they do call it, that's a really great brand building and ability to connect with your customer right away. Like super, super quick on the phone. You can build that relationship with them and be able to get them back their quote. Now, if we go through here, looks like it's very good. They're doing a good job here with some content. 48 hours, if this is the best that the shop can do, awesome. Obviously, the faster you get back a quote, the more sales you're going to get. I mean, guys, it's speed. It's pure speed. Sometimes you'll just win a quote because you're the fastest person to get back. And on top of it, speed adds value, right? Speed equals more value to the customer. Now, when we get into the form, I think this all looks good. Quote date. This probably should be like, when do you need it by? I think that would maybe make a little bit more sense. Customer name, that's awesome. Contact name makes sense. Email, phone, all makes sense there. Oh, okay, I see. So quote is needed by. So maybe quote date is just today's date, which you could probably just remove, right? Because you know when this form is submitted by. Um, Date orders needed by, sweet, shipping type, your name, your address, state, zip, billing, um, payment type. This is a very extensive form to fill out. Okay, here's the other thing that I would highly, highly suggest with forms. The more fields you can take off the form, although it really does help with order collection, it also creates a lot of friction of people that they just end up leaving. So the more friction, the more fields, it's going to reduce your conversion rate. I mean, it's just what it is. Now, the flip side is maybe you get more serious people who are reaching out and filling out more information, or maybe this is for people who are calling in though too, and they're just going to fill out this form. I don't know from my perspective, but again, if you have a quote form on your page that you expect leads to be able to fill out right on the go and move quickly, you want to make it as quick as possible and get the minimum amount of information, the absolutely required information that you need to keep moving. And it seems like they have certain stars here, which means it's required. So I would just get rid of a lot of extra stuff here, and you'll definitely see a bit more conversions. From there, again, speed to return back. I think that's great. Portfolio, super cool. They've got some awesome prints here. They've got poster prints, they've got shirt prints. I think this makes a lot of sense. I noticed the page loaded a little bit slow, so I'm guessing these are very high res images. I would definitely render these down to be about 1,000 pixels by 1,000 pixels at 72 dpi. And the reason is, well, not everybody's internet is super fast, right? So you want to make the page load very, very quickly. Services here, this is listed out. All makes sense. Probably could add some video or some more photos for each of these. I think that would be awesome too. Again, huge proponent of video. It creates a really great connection. They do an awesome job with photography, though. We go to FAQs. I think this is a great idea as well. Art requirements, perfect. And then get in touch. I think these are really great. I mean, social's so big. If you're not posting regularly on social, you know, they have a huge following, which is amazing to see. It's a really great legitimacy factor. But again, if you're not posting regularly on social, you might as well not even be open in a way. I mean, people just don't. People who, if you're trying to get direct customers, they're going to see it and they're going to see it and they're going to make a quick judgment off of it. And then over on Yelp reviews, always keep forwarding as many reviews as possible. It looks like they're starting to do that, which is great. Get them on Google, get them on Yelp, all the other review sites. Make sure you're sending a lot of people over. So overall, awesome site. Again, I think some of the improvements are phone numbers, reducing information contact forms, and just more video. All right, next place here is Trust Print Shop. So we're checking out Trust Print Shop's website. They did a custom build, very much so in their brand and their colors and the lightweight feel. A lot of human faces here, which I really like as well, just people looking directly at you. I think that's a really great thing. We used to do that a ton when we were designing websites as well. Their headline here, your custom shirts deserve to be worn. So I think that's really great, very clever. You can be able to start to get a quote here and select products, or you can learn a little bit more about the process and how it works with them, where you choose your prints. You select what type of shirt you want. They're talking about reviewing the order, printing, and so on. So I think this is really great. Again, I think a phone number would be awesome. It's a great way, again, to get leads to come in the door and build that relationship very quickly. They're going for more of the online website flow, which gets people to fill out information online and then submit the order so that they can approve it. Let's see. They've really minified, Trust Print Shop has really minified the top menu items. As you can see, it's how it works, our work, about us, and a couple more action items like log in and start an order. You'll notice previously we saw a lot more options, but simple is great, right? Reduce the amount of things a customer can be able to do. I really like how they have a ton of great photos here. They have meet the team. This creates that transparency. That's awesome. Even better would have been a video, something like that to connect them. Hey, this is Matt from Trust Print Shop, just talking about it, why Trust Print Shop is what it is, what they care about. I think that would be great. Now I can see here down below they use with a tool called Olark. Olark is used for live chat, but if you're offline, you can send them a message really easily. I'm not sure. I mean, it's kind of early here in Chicago, so maybe they're just not online right now. But if they are online, live chat could be a great option to test, right? You may be able to get some customers in the door and just interact with people with live chat. The one drawback from having live chat is that you do have to monitor it. There's nothing worse than a bad experience of live chat when you talk to somebody and then they don't respond for 5-10 minutes, right? It just doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. So it is something you would need to staff for and have somebody actively monitoring it. Now, could they be maybe a virtual assistant somewhere that's not in your shop? Potentially, especially if they're just filling out quotes and getting jobs back to them quickly. That could definitely be able to help. I really, again, am a big fan of their photography here. If we scroll around, we can see a lot of their past work. And everything here looks great. And then, of course, you can follow them at the bottom. I personally would have brought some of the social icons a bit higher up, just seeing as how important social is for people's validation, but not a huge deal. Now, you'll notice one thing that they do have at the very bottom, what's called a sitemap. Sitemaps make it easier for Google to be able to crawl your website. If you're using WordPress or something like that, you can create a sitemap. And just having the sitemap, essentially, it lists out all the different websites, or it lists out all the different pages on your website. It makes it very easy. And again, it just helps with Google to be able to pull listings up. Now, the one thing that Trust isn't utilizing is SEO fully. I mean, Google's going to pick up on custom t-shirts in this site because the wording is mentioned a lot. But there's not much of local aspects except for on the about page. So they could be losing things if people say, custom t-shirts, custom screen printing, Texas, for example. And that is one thing that could be improved upon there. All right, next website we've got is Envision Tees. Tom Brown's website. I pulled this one up because I thought it was not as pretty as the other ones, but I think it had really good aspects to help convert leads, convert potential customers to be customers. So the first thing you see on here is custom t-shirts is just the beginning. You see maybe the logo. You've got this big form right here. I want to point out this form here because I think this is big. I think this is really big. I think that when you type in information in here, people can start filling out contact information right away. Now, historically, a lot of sites will say get a quote, which redirects to another page, and that's the form. This one's got a very basic form here that you can start filling out. And I'm going to just see what happens when we click on get a quote and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it just submits it to them and then they're going to reach back out. No expectation on time. I would say that would be a nice aspect to say would be in contact with you in a couple of hours, ideally. And, of course, during business hours, you could put that too. But I think that would be a nice aspect to get coming back out there. Now, one thing you do notice on top is they actually don't have any menu items up here. There's no about us, no our work, no services, no contact, none of that. Just a phone number. Very interesting. We've been talking about having the phone number in the top, but this one's big. This one swung big time in the other direction. It would be kind of interesting to see the thoughts behind this, but honestly, it's fascinating, right? It just does drive you to 100% reach out. And I do think what's a bit confusing is this phone number is different than 1-800 t-shirts. And that's what's mentioned here and here. Again, less options. So I would, again, probably just push it hard here. I will say when I'm scrolling down here, it seems interesting, right? They list out the services. What they do here is that they've got what's called social proof. This is very common in websites. You list big names that you've worked with or that you work with for, or brands that are your vendors for, and then you put those on your website. It brings a huge legitimacy factor to you guys. I would absolutely do it. So if you've been featured in local newspapers, put their logo down. Worst case, put the logos of vendors that you work with. Put a Next Level logo, put a Bell logo, put a Gildan logo. Put all those Under Armour, Nike, all that stuff up, and just say brands we work with, for example. That's the easiest way to go. Another really great social proof idea is to put how many orders or how many t-shirts have you printed in the last 365 days. Again, a big social proof. People don't want to be the first mover. They want to know they're moving with a crowd together. So you could say, hey, we've printed over 1 million t-shirts this year, and we work with the following brands, right? And so that's a really great way to do it. Now you'll notice here, there's a lot of different call to actions: custom masks, get your free sample, create a merch store, get a quote again. And these all seem to open up the quote button and the quote form here, except for the face mask one. So that's interesting. Um, I think it does create a little bit of confusion as far as what to click on. I would rather see just more direction towards one action. Now, if we keep scrolling down here, you can email them, you can give them a call again. And then they've got a lot more social proof down below, which I think is another great idea. I think the couple things here that are missing, though, I think some information about the company to create that connection with your potential customer. Showing who's there. I mean, we see this warehouse as far as where they are, but the pictures, there's no logo on here, nothing. It's a little bit cold. I think just a little bit more messaging, more video, something about the team, about the company is a really great reason to help convert more people over. All right, number 4, Barrel Maker. They're outside of Chicago. Pretty similar website to Industry Print Shop that we reviewed before. I really love the beautiful big photography here. I think that's really great. You can clearly see the menu items at the top. Again, no phone number. That's okay. Maybe it's under contact us. Let's take a look. No phone number here either. So they're really trying to drive people's interactions to filling out the form. This one's a lot shorter. As you can see, there's name, email, address, phone, and then some file uploads. I think that's good. I think one thing this website's doing is called scroll jacking. So when I'm scrolling on the website, it's kind of trying to push me a little bit further. That to me is a little bit annoying as a user, just because it really forces you to scroll past maybe what I'm looking for. So I wouldn't necessarily implement any scroll jacking type of plugins there. But again, people's faces, huge. People's faces, I cannot emphasize enough, convert so well on websites. We did a lot of research around this. So make sure you've got some really great faces, and they do. Boom, here we go. Social proof right there. Logos of the brands. Could have even made that bigger, and probably one of the first things you see right here, I think is a really great idea. Fresh ink mix daily, a little bit more of their personality coming in there. And then they've got a lot of their work, which is coming down from Instagram. That's a really great, easy way to keep our work and what you guys do updated, is just pull from your Instagram account. I like that a lot. Now you've got down here the team that they've got. They've got faces, all looks awesome. You can see more, and video here too, which I think is great. So this all appears to be one website, except for live printing. Looks like it goes off to a different page. Tons of photos. I really like the mass amount of photos that they do have on the page here. I think the couple improvement pieces I would do would be get quote now, I would make this way bigger, way more bold, and really stand out to get people again funneling into the contact form. All right, we are halfway through. Next website is realthread.com, shop based out of Orlando, Florida. They spent a lot of time doing a ton of custom development. We did a really great podcast with Drew over on at Real Thread, and we'll drop a link down below for that as well. You can see that they've really focused on design heavily. They've spent a lot of time making this custom site and really implementing the user interface. And they're really trying to force people to get into starting a quote and building that quote out right away. You can see it very boom right there, boom right there. You've got the hamburger icon, which kind of dives into a little bit more about what's going on. Now, RealThread has spent a ton of time in photography, it seems, and it definitely shows their personality is all over the site. It makes it look nice and professional. I do like these kind of feature call outs here, right? Low minimums, lightning fast service, money back guarantee. It seems like maybe they did some research around what their customers truly care about the most and then just highlight those. I do think that the one opportunity that's missing here is the social proof, right? Showing what they've done for the companies around them and being able to really push on that as a big aspect to help convert these leads over. Now, as we scroll down here, you're going to see all the different things they could do. You can click on these. You can see more types of work that they've done. Again, a ton of photography that they've put into this. It looks like they make it easy to order a sample pack too, which is kind of neat. Let's click into this and see what that's all about. So you can order a sample pack. It looks like for $30, you get a couple different shirts that are all have inside labels that are printed really well, and then that is going towards a credit on your order if you'd like to. I'd be interested to see how many people fill that out. I think that's a really great idea. And if they're a serious customer, they're going to order a sample pack, right? If they're not that serious, they're going to chintz and not be they're not going to be super excited about paying $30, but $30 on $1,000 order isn't that big of a deal for somebody. Now, they do talk about integrations and fulfillments and all that stuff. Again, beautiful photography. Interesting. Read customer stories. So here's where their social proof is. They brought it down further at the bottom. And they've got this page called Read Customer Stories where they must have more customer reviews. And they're clearly using the software to help drive reviews. So in Printavo, you guys can do this with status change notifications. You'll want to ask somebody for a review every single time they go to a completed order because you want this. You want thousands of positive reviews. Again, if somebody on a Yelp page that you only have 10 reviews writes a negative review, that's going to drop your score. But if somebody does that and they're an upset customer on a page that has 1,000 reviews, it's just not going to change. So definitely do that. I know there's also a tool called Signpost that a lot more people are using, signpost.com, that helps drive more positive reviews to your pages. So this is their customer stories page, and it looks like they're talking about each of their customers here, a bit of highlights, and then when you click into it, a bit of a blog post about RealThread help them. Pretty darn professional and really clean. They spent a lot of time obviously putting this together, so it looks great there. All right, next up, we've got Custom Ink. I wanted to show off this website because I really think that they exemplify what a great site has, the different elements. Again, on this site, you've got good photography, nice, clean, professional photography. When you're thinking about getting photos of either your shop or you as a team, there's so many people with good cameras out there that know how to take basic photos of you guys that can help, right? People in college that are studying photography, people that are just into it on the side, right? You want to pay a little bit to help. Again, this is an investment in your brand. It creates a really good image of what your company is when people just quickly judge it. So spend a little bit there. and find somebody who knows what they're doing. As you can see, they try to use orange to be that call to action button. I think it does confuse a little bit with all the orange on top and on the bottom. Now, one thing I do want to point out here that they do is Custom Ink uses a bit more SEO than most shops. And what they're doing here is if you want to get into the nitty gritty, this is an H1 HTML tag up here at the top. Now, it's small because they styled it with CSS, but this is the most important tag here that Google is picking up. So the highest text on the page in the lowest number of headers, so H1 at the very top is what Google is going to value most importantly. So custom t-shirts, fast free shipping, all-inclusive pricing. That's what Google's really going to drive home when people are searching for it and raise Custom Ink higher. Now, phone number, they're big on the phone number right there. This is what I keep saying. Phone number is big. They do lean on live chat here too. Again, it's hard to scale this one, but absolutely phone number I think is a great point to put up there. The next thing down here that I think is really great, RealThread also pulled from this too, is the features. What are the most important features that you want to hammer on to your potential customers? And they do that here. You can talk about shipping. So clearly they think shipping is the most important and getting things to people quickly. 2-week, 1 week, 3-day rush, we can get it to you fast. Some more examples of goods that they can make: t-shirts, hoodies, hats, promo wear, jackets, all that good stuff. Brands, they've got some social proof down below. And then they really get into the customer testimonials down here below. So I think a nicely laid out website, very simple and to the point. No videos, but I think videos are a big missed opportunity. And I think really talking about the different products and starting to go through that and what more is the company about helps to formulate people's opinions. Okay, Campus Ink. Campus Ink is a shop. You've probably seen them in a lot of their videos. We make a podcast together. I pulled them up because I think they spent a lot of time on their website here, and I think that it's really starting to show off and looks awesome. You can notice here custom team gifting. I mean, literally, you could not get more straight to the point of what they do than this right here. Now, when we get down into this main area, this is the first thing that I see: custom team gifting. We get into start order. That's great. Shop catalog, one or the other. Honestly, I would try to emphasize one or the other. I probably wouldn't have both as the same weight. Again, make it easier for people to think less. We talk about here the phone number. They do have it here, but it does rotate. It seems every couple seconds it rotates with something else. Yeah, the masks are available. Maybe put the phone number up here by the social icon so it's there, it's more visible, and it helps convert direct leads. You'll notice start an order, very red, very in your face too. That's great. I mean, I think it's really good for it to stand out. I'd be curious though to know if start an order is good, or is it super committal and maybe it's like find out your pricing or quote pricing, something like that. But I could see from their perspective, starting an order means that you want a serious person that's ready to go. So I find that interesting. It looks like, based on these icons, that they're built on Shopify. So this is a theme that they took and customized. They have their social icons at the top. Can't emphasize that enough. I think that's huge now too, especially in today's day and age. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and it looks like Pinterest as well. Maybe for more art inspiration. We'll pull that up. I'm curious to see what they're doing on Pinterest here. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like they do have a ton of artwork that they do that you can look at for ideas or just inspiration here for your design project. And that's pulled down there. Now, at the top menu items, we've got products. They do very similar to Custom Ink and RealThread, where they're showing all the different types of products they can do. This is past work. We've got solutions. This is interesting. We haven't seen this before. So solutions, it looks like they've really nailed down who are their three customers: college, corporate, and community. So from here, they're able to see different types of work that they can help with. Let's click on corporate solutions. See what one of these pages here looks like. It looks like you scroll down, you've got different ideas, you've got different things here about what they do. You got the order process and how they get started. So very just tailored towards that customer. And maybe this actually helps with some SEO as well. So if you're looking for corporate gear, champagne, or where they're located, that could definitely pull up. Really great photography here. They've got some logos. They're really starting to push. Oh, so this is really interesting. They've got our favorite teas, which is really seeming to push what they feel here are teas that you should check out or you should try, right? There's so many different types of brands and everything. So I think that's a pretty interesting idea. So overall, very well built, very clean, because it's Shopify, most likely works very well on mobile as well. That's a huge thing. If your site doesn't work well on mobile and doesn't fold in very nicely, you're just losing out on potential sales. Last but not least, Printed Threads. So we pulled them up. They've got a very unique brand that they push. Um, Printed Threads here, when you load up the site, quote is definitely trying to stand out a little bit more, although these menu options are very bold. So I don't necessarily always see quote first, but I do see this get a quote button down here. Let's click it and see what their form is like. Okay, so instead of landing us on a form where we have to still start filling out our first name and last name and all that stuff, it looks like we've got the type of work that we want. So let's just click on screen printing and see what we get on the next page. From here, this goes into the different types of work that they want and artwork and uploaded information. So it looks like you fill that out. And then I'm assuming from here, you go in and you fill out contact information at the end. So interesting, different way of handling a contact form that they've created. Now, I really like the video in the background. You can see this cool stop motion video, very clever. They're talking about branding right away, right off the bat. You can forward over to see all of their work. I think that's a great idea. And here it seems like they actually keep their blog fairly up to date. I mean, October 7th, about a month ago, so not bad. But they're definitely way more active on social media. And so you can see those icons down below. Again, I go back to the phone number and the social icons a little bit higher up towards the top, which I think would be really helpful to convert new customers. Now, Printed Threads is releasing some free downloads, which is interesting. I wonder if this can help attract some of their customers based on SEO value that it brings. So if you're looking for free vector textures, you may land on this page, you download it, you see Printed Threads. Maybe you remember it next time that you need custom work done. And it looks like they do other stuff too, like hints, color charts, t-shirt templates, and more. And then you can also, interestingly, get a free shirt. I think that's pretty cool. I actually filled this out a while ago, and you do get it very quickly as well. Creates a lot more of a connection with your potential customer there. So it's probably worth the investment. And I'd be curious to know a little bit more from them if they feel that those people can convert or if they do measure that. So that's Printed Threads. Hopefully, guys, that was helpful. That was just going through a couple websites. Hopefully, you guys can take some of those tips back as well and apply them to your website to continually make it better. None of this is ever changing. No website is ever perfect. No website is ever bad. It's just always improving and moving forward to make it better for your customers. Guys, if you guys have a website you want to be reviewed, I'd love to be able to help you out. Drop a comment down below with the link, and I'll shoot you a video.